Good one. You know, photographers do these jobs to stay behind the camera. Yeah, man, you can tell we're a bunch of goobers that don't like to be in front of the camera, man.
I am a multimedia journalist, I am a reporter, and I'm a photographer. I do everything. I honestly don't like being on the camera that much at all. I can do it, but to me, the less you see of me is the more you get to hear of somebody else.
It's not about us, you know, it's about the people that deserve to have their stories told.
There's no story too small for us to ignore, and everyone has an aspect of life that matters.
It's extremely rewarding for me, just helping those people in the community, highlighting all those people and their stories and doing the best that we can for them. That's the reward, and that's why we do it.
I'm grateful that our station really, you know, focuses on is the people, even though I'm like on camera right now, talking about myself.
One of the highest honors I can get is when I go to a story and I'm interacting with kids and a little boy or girl says, "See you later, camera girl."
CBS 6 News at noon starts with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news from the Tri-Cities, where there was a major presence this morning by police at a nursing home. This is the CBS 6 News at noon. I'm Cheryl Miller. CBS 6 senior reporter Wayne Koval captured this video of officers at the Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center on Ellerslie Avenue this morning. Wayne witnessed officers checking the driver's licenses of people as they arrived at the facility and saw several people taken out of the building. A police van later left the parking lot and drove to police headquarters, where Wayne witnessed a number of people being taken out of the van wearing flex handcuffs. CBS 6 has previously reported on the same nursing home. In July, we told you that following one of our investigations, the Virginia Department of Health's Office of Licensure and Certification launched a probe and ultimately found 4 instances where the facility violated federal rules. We're currently working to learn more about the nature of this morning's police activity at the Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, and we'll bring you updates online and on air as we get them.
And our senior reporter Wayne Koval was the only journalist on scene when the arrests were being made. He joins us live now from Colonial Heights. Wayne?
Bill, the director of this facility, and a nurse are behind bars tonight without bond, and they are just 2 of the 18 employees that police have warrants for, and more charges are possible after a patient here was transferred to a hospital and died.
According to the prosecutor in this case, the victim was left in her bed for days, lying in her own feces and urine. They claim that she died from sepsis from her wounds caused by the poor care that she received.
Shawanda Jeter, who runs the facility, is facing some of the most serious charges in this case. In addition to abuse and neglect charges, prosecutors say she hired nursing staff with barrier crimes on their record, to include malicious wounding and domestic assault. When detectives executed a search warrant at the facility on November 4th, Nochisaki said Jeter tried to prevent them from executing the search warrant, lied to them that she didn't know how to get into the system, and attempted to destroy evidence. As for Danielle Harris, the prosecutor said the registered nurse was in charge of training at the facility, but she said Harris failed to provide adequate training to staff, which led to the victim's injuries.
It's stories like these which prompted Pompey in high school to form the group Justice and Change for Victims of Nursing Facilities. They advocate for stronger laws and regulations to protect this vulnerable population.
Our government here in Virginia, we are holding them accountable for what's happening in these nursing facilities, and their silence is deafening.
It's the Virginia Department of Health that's responsible for ensuring that nursing homes are meeting state and federal standards. But as we have previously uncovered, when people submit complaints alleging poor care and conditions, VDH is often very slow to take action.
I found it very disheartening that the Department of Health had not responded.
Get off your rear ends and do something about this. Something. Make people responsible, make them accountable for what their job is supposed to be.
And they need great quality of care, high intensity care, and we are here to help regulate the communities that do that and to make sure that we're working together to facilitate that best care.
And do you feel like VDH is doing a good job with that right now?
we are going forward at a fast pace.
CBS 6 News at 6 starts with a breaking news alert.
It was one of the most shocking tragedies of 2023. Now we're learning startling new details about the events surrounding a deadly graduation day shooting in Richmond. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Janine Samuels.
And I'm Bill Fitzgerald, live in Monroe Park. CBS 6 and the Richmond Times-Dispatch went to court to force Richmond Public Schools to release a report which contains the findings of a third-party investigation into last year's Huguenot High School graduation ceremony right here at the Altria Theater, just steps from where I'm standing.
They killed 2 of these people out here.
A mass shooting outside a high school graduation.
With their guns drawn.
I'd worked a full day. I had to come back because there was this incident going on outside the Altria Theater. So every officer, they are down here.
I remember getting a text from my mom, like, do you know how many people are hurt? Do you know what happened? You can also see a VCU police officer.
There was a milling about of graduates, and all of a sudden gunshots rang out.
I'm tired of seeing people get shot.
And we were rushing in as this was happening.
Our kids get shot.
And could feel the sense of sadness.
I remember a woman, she dropped to the ground. And I remember her saying, they killed my son, they killed my son.
Tragically, 2 of our life-threatening victims have passed away.
That day showed how important it is to lead with humanity first.
I'll never look at this place the same.
And I beg of the entire community to stop.
On this anniversary 1 year later, we have team coverage sharing the voices of those impacted closest by the violence in downtown Richmond that day. In total, 7 people were shot. Huguenot graduate Sean Jackson and his stepfather Renzo Smith both killed on what was supposed to be a joyous day. In just a moment, we'll hear from Tamika Jackson Smith as she continues to grieve the tragic loss of both her son and husband.
Is it okay? And I was reassured once again, everything is fine. It's not fine. Look at me and my family. It's not fine. It's not.
Crime Insider John Burkett sits down with Richmond's police chief, Rick Edwards, to talk about the RPD response to the mass shooting and how this event, though gruesome and heartbreaking, has been a catalyst for change within the city and the department.
Men and women of the RPD quickly getting downtown from all directions.
Trying to get entry and exit points. They were providing first aid to some of the victims. They were hunting for the suspect along with VCU police. So I think it was, as concerning as it was to me, it was impressive to hear that the supervisors on scene and the officers responding were doing it as we had trained.
I can tell you, after 40 years of being in the business and operating restaurants, I've never heard of anything like this.
I just wish our city would fix the problems that they've been telling me they were going to fix it for years.
Business owners hit with unexpected fees.
The way it was all handled makes Richmond extremely untrustworthy. I can't say I would do business in Richmond again.
Bills that they say don't make sense.
I just want to know why. Why do I owe this?
Taxpayers are concerned with how Richmond handles their money.
We need to have the city to start taking more accountability for the things and the mistakes that they're making.
To me, it's not about the money. It's about the system that is so broken that it has come to this.
Now asking the city to do what's right and pick up the check.
We obtained recent audits of the finance department that found staff failed to process business forms, revealing more than 1,000 unfiled documents, 700 unprocessed mail records, and checks that were just sitting on employees' desks. It also shows poor data integrity led to inaccurate service for businesses.
Here, people are starting from scratch and are hoping the city does more to prevent future devastation.
One of the hardest hit areas devastated by tropical storm Gaston.
The whole building, we have to gut the building, go down to the bare brick walls because of the water damage, paintings, photos, you name it, everything's gone.
I've never seen such horror in all my days.
Yeah, look at that. You got some road damage there.
We were thinking of a plan just in case all of that water came inside the bus. What were we gonna do?
And I was like, okay, it's gonna be okay. I'm talking to 911, help is on the way, it's gonna be okay.
Water came through the kitchen and through the front door.
God was with us. He sent us an angel.
I've never seen video from that.
A once-in-a-lifetime event that will hopefully never repeat itself.
Wow.
Floated by, that's my car.
To a white-knuckle trip down memory lane.
That is an incredibly dangerous situation that I was in.
So that's what, 10, 12 feet? Yeah, pretty scary.
So it's such a huge area of property and people's livelihoods underwater.
We're talking about the potential for flash flooding. That's always the first thing people say, is this going to be anywhere close to Gaston? Because that's always fresh in their memory. And it is the high water mark, so to speak, for flooding from tropical systems here in Richmond.
Because the remnants of Tropical Storm Debbie tore through the neighborhood, leaving homes uninhabitable for 10 families and dozens of other homes damaged by debris.
You know, you say godlike encounters, all you can do is make the best of it.
So you guys were literally right there whenever this thing hit?
Yes. Yep, we were right inside the bathtub.
If riding out a tornado isn't frightening enough, Heather Wise says her 12-week-old daughter was with her. Panic set in as the tornado approached her dad's home.
My dad said, "Here comes the wind," and that's when it just was like that one big swoosh all at one time. And right when he said that, I just put her in the car seat as fast as I could, and I took a pillow and leaned it over the car seat with myself over top of that.
The official survey found the tornado's path was 100 yards wide and traveled 5 miles.
Heart-stopping. Dash cam video.
I didn't expect him to come across like that, like in between our cars.
A toddler running south on North Parham Road Friday morning in western Henrico County. Trey Waddy
Just scooped him like this. So like he was in my left hand. So yeah, he was like over here.
couldn't believe what he was seeing.
I'm happy that he's safe, and I'm happy that like he's where he's supposed to be. But I do think that someone needs to be held responsible.
Honoring the brave women who have served our nation in the U.S. military. It's Virginia Women's Veterans Week, and we're here at the Virginia War Memorial in Richmond. You can find details on how to have your journey captured by Laura, plus all of our stories on Virginia Women Veterans Week online at WTVR.com. Here at the War Memorial, I'm Janine Samuels for CBS 6 News.
Stop resisting! I'm tase you! I've had enough! Put your hands behind your back! Do it now!
Video obtained exclusively by CBS 6 shows the interactions between a mentally ill hospital patient and a Richmond police officer, security, and medical staff, just 36 hours before the man would be shot and killed during an encounter with police in Chesterfield.
There would be any attempt, Wycliffe Court and 12. The callers advising that a male subject, bald white male, last seen wearing black t-shirt, black shorts, and barefoot, came up and took off her back screen. He's now currently walking through the neighborhood.
The dispatcher added that Byers was then seen standing in a third person's garage. And the officer who would later shoot and kill Byers asked the dispatcher whether Byers committed any crimes.
Any crime committed so far? Maybe injury to anything?
K4, it looks like he vandalized one residence. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything.
2 officers arrived on scene and found Byers standing in a yard, and by this point, he was holding a hatchet. Video shows Byers retreating from officers as they give at least 15 orders for him to drop the hatchet. He does not comply. After about 45 seconds, the male officer shoots Byers 5 times as he backs away, and then shoots 2 more times toward Byers' back as he runs away. Byers' family is suing for excessive force, alleging the officer failed to de-escalate, did not give a warning that he would use deadly force, and essentially did not need to kill him. Chesterfield County and the officer are seeking dismissal of the lawsuit, arguing the officer's actions were reasonable because Byers posed an immediate threat to their safety and the safety of neighbors. They say the officers did attempt to de-escalate through their uniformed police presence, verbal commands, display of guns, and use of a taser. They argue the severity of the crimes in question was high, and based on the dispatch information, a reasonable officer would believe that a potentially dangerous crime was in process.
A brief drop in crime this summer in Richmond was followed by a spike in shootings. 14 people shot over just 5 days last month.
We deserve justice. We deserve change. We deserve answers.
When you killed somebody, you do damage and the families. And think about they do damage to you too.
Last summer, CBS 6 hosted a town hall called Stop the Violence. An 8-person panel came together to answer your questions and work towards solutions. And now, 1 year later, we're bringing together a group of 5 Richmonders who have seen and felt the impact of violence firsthand.
Does Richmond have a gun violence problem? What's being done to address it? And what would these individuals like to see going forward? Tonight, we share their voices.
How they keeping tabs on these violent crimes? Who's really sitting back, notating like, all right, this, that. Like, we want to know the facts on the numbers.
Pastor Gilliam, Richmonders involved in strengthening our communities. You've been to scenes too. What are you seeing about the gun violence problem?
Similar to what these brothers are saying, it is an issue that's so multifaceted, and that really requires a totality of the resources that we can put towards it from our elected officials. But I think also there has to be, community accountability.
Building behind me contains information and artifacts on elections dating back to the 1700s. Tonight, it serves as the arena for the 5 people who would like to become Richmond's next mayor.
Live from the Virginia Museum of History and Culture in Richmond, Virginia, CBS 6 presents The Citizens Debate.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Greg McQuaid, and welcome to the Citizens Debate.
Hi, we're just asking people about what issues they're thinking about as far as the election, not people, just the issues.
I'm Reba with Channel 6. What's important to you this election season?
We're coming out to talk to people about what issues are important to them this election.
Not about who you're voting for, but just some of the key issues that are most important to you.
Well, what are the most important things that are going through their minds at this election? What's important to you?
So what issues concern you most headed into this election?
We are sharing your voices on this election day. Thanks for joining us here for the CBS 6 News at 5. I'm Cheryl Miller.
And I'm Julie Bragg. We have complete team coverage for you throughout the evening. Our Cameron Thompson and Elizabeth Holmes have updates on the state of the voting process right now, including some issues at one polling place in Richmond.
Our Tyler Lane is following the mayoral contest in the city of Richmond. And we begin with our Bill Fitzgerald, who's anchoring our coverage live. Bill?
Surprise.
Surprise.
Let's go surprise them. You didn't know this, but we've been working together.
We told you that we weren't going to be talking to you today, but we are.
You got me good.
Thank you for all that you do.
You're going to help us bless a whole lot of people.
Don't cry, don't cry.
Yeah.
6 Gives, brought to you by Virginia Credit Union. We got you.
Since January,
and unless and until we have accountability, I just don't know how we're going to have this rectified.
CBS 6
it really does bring a lot of anxiety.
Has been highlighting issues with the mail.
I've never had a harder experience, getting answers.
Frustrating officials.
What entity says, no, we're not going to pay any attention to our customers?
And the public.
I would appreciate it if y'all could help us to get the mail delivered out here. When did this start happening?
Week, 10 days, 12 days that the mail doesn't come.
Working to find answers.
There just needs to be some sort of reform and ways to stop this. People have to have trust.
And delivering solutions.
This time, we shared the voice of a man who says mail issues aren't just bad for business, they're killing his farm animals. We want to warn you, some of the pictures you'll see in this story may be unsettling.
They're very loud. When they're just born, they're really, really loud.
Most of the boxes that were shipped sat in silence.
This season, it's happened 2 times. 2 times we've had 90% plus mortality. And then several other instances, 3 or 4 separate times, we've had mortality that's definitely higher than we would expect normally, so 10 to 20%, which is still a problem and sort of indicates some potential mishandling.
Pamplin Poultry is hoping to ship chicks through a different U.S. postal facility further west, despite it tacking on more distance and drive time, since it's still their cheapest option.
We've only been out here a few minutes and we just had someone come up to us asking us if we are doing a story on the mail issues. She just talked about having to go through hoops to get a change of address.
I gave him my passport, my birth certificate, my husband's death certificate, my marriage certificate. I thought it was ridiculous that I had to go through all that and still they didn't get it right.
She goes, "That's all I have to say, thank you." She just wanted to talk to us. And we heard the same thing time and time again.
It is consistently inconsistent.
To not have answers, it really does bring a lot of anxiety.
This is not just a Richmond issue, it is a Virginia issue. So we're kind of the middleman, taking people, everyday people who have these concerns, bringing it forward to maybe these senators, maybe lawmakers who they can't talk to every day. Our job is to elevate people's voices, is to let them know that these concerns are not being ignored, that we are hearing them and that we're going to try to do something about it.
David Mueller had trouble containing his dismay when we showed him the amount of money former Petersburg Superintendent Dr. Tamara Sterling spent traveling to conferences during her 15-month tenure with the city school system.
But you sure shouldn't be spending $22,000 field tripping around the country.
She started with the National Conference on Education in San Antonio, Texas in February of 2023. Now, the actual conference was February 16th through the 18th, but records show the school system paid $6,309.02 for Sterling to stay in San Antonio for an entire week. Even if she flew into the conference the day before and flew out the day after, taxpayers still paid for her to stay in San Antonio for 3 additional nights. Hanover and Henrico's superintendents also went to this conference, but each only stayed for 4 nights and spent far less money. Then, in late June of 2023, Sterling went to the Urban Superintendents Collaborative for Improved Student Outcomes at the Green Valley Ranch Resort Spa and Casino in Henderson, Nevada. The conference was June 28th to the 30th, but she stayed June 27th through July 2nd, spending $2,713. A few weeks later, Sterling traveled to Orlando, Florida for the SREB Making Schools Work Conference. The actual conference was July 18th through the 21st, but she stayed July 17th through the 23rd. Records show she spent $3,866 on 2 separate rooms at the hotel for herself, registration, and a rental car that she put 335 miles on.
The school board chairman will have to have increased scrutiny when approving these requests and these expenditures, unfortunately, because of what we're seeing today.
A prominent former school administrator sits behind bars in Prince George County tonight accused of sex crimes against children. Good evening, I'm Julie Bragg.
And I'm Janine Samuels. William A. Barnes Jr. was arrested at his home in Disputana this morning. This is exclusive video of state police at the property. Barnes was indicted by a multi-jurisdictional grand jury earlier this month. He's being held at Riverside Regional Jail, and their records show that he faces 9 criminal charges, including aggravated sexual battery, indecent liberties with a child, and sexual assault by force or threat.
It's a lot of emotions right now because I haven't been here in 30 years.
He returns to where he says it all began.
It got to the point where if I would just let it happen, it would go away faster. If you fought him, it was just going to take longer.
According to these 6 affidavits exclusively obtained by CBS 6 and now in the custody of the Virginia State Police, Donald is not the only one making these allegations. At least 3 men are accusing Barnes of inappropriately touching them as kids, and others are backing the claims, as well as allegations that Barnes allowed minors to use drugs and alcohol inside his home.
Car's gonna be all right, man.
Yep. Let's hope so.
With our cameras rolling, Donald tearfully embraces one of Barnes's other accusers for the first time.
It makes me damn glad that I'm speaking up for him.
Lake Anna, the Commonwealth's 2nd largest lake that spans 3 counties.
Virginia Department of Health is investigating several cases of gastrointestinal illnesses in the Lake Anna area.
25 people, primarily minors, would be infected with E. coli.
The second day I was home, I started feeling my stomach was hurting and I was like vomiting and stuff. I told my mom, I feel like I'm gonna die. It was horrible. I couldn't even walk.
Under the Freedom of Information Act, CBS 6 requested E. coli-related communications from the Virginia Department of Health on the Lake Anna investigation. They produced 700 plus documents, some redacted, which we took months to analyze.
An in-home nurse, she often stops by to pick up lunch for a lady she takes care of. Such was the case back on April 30th.
My patient asked if I would go and run and get her something to eat. She wanted Taco Bell.
Right after she placed the order, Brianni was overcome by stomach cramps, so she ran to the restroom. A few minutes later, she came out, but then almost immediately.
It's like the pain hit me once again. I went back in the bathroom, and this time when I sat down, there was no standing back up.
In a panic, she called her husband, who works at VCU Medical Center.
She's crying, she's breathing heavy. So immediately I'm like, babe, what's wrong? And she's like, how fast can you get to me? So I'm like, oh God.
Jamars Jackson put his phone on speaker and began racing out of the hospital when something stopped him dead in his tracks.
I'm running past the Panera Bread, and then I hear her just let out this gut-wrenching scream.
Then a terrifying moment of silence.
I'm still panicking. I'm like, babe, say something. And then she's like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, what's wrong? What happened? She was like, I just had a baby. And I was like, you did what?
A complete shock because neither one had any idea that Brianni had been pregnant.
And I was like, okay, no, there's no way. It's definitely the best gift that we could ever ask for.
A bundle of joy.
Lo and behold.
With an arrival that no one saw coming.
A miracle. Out of nowhere.
In a Taco Bell restaurant.
In a Taco Bell. In a Taco Bell restaurant.
You hear that? That's what it sounds like on most news stations. The same voices and stories over and over, like hearing the same click from the same school. Now hear that? That's what you hear on CBS 6, diverse voices from all over. It's like hearing from every student in Central Virginia.
Alina!
Hear that? That's my teacher. Gotta go.
Go back to school with CBS 6 This Morning.
Lyrics that some say saved them.
Somebody save me from myself.
You know, we all hear you and we relate to it so much, man. And I mean, thank you for everything you do.
I don't say this lightly. I go to jails every day, 3 to 5 days a week, all across America, every time I'm touring. This is one of the top 2 most elite programs and one of the most vision-forward sheriffs I've ever met. You feel change in there.
I'm gonna go slow. Watch out, because speed. S-P-E-E-D.
The senior shifts into high gear, even at the ripe old age of
103.
So when we're on the water, people, the rafters and the kayakers go, whoa, look at that. What is that? It's a huge, long wooden boat, as heavy as all get out.
Keeping a chapter of Virginia's heritage afloat.
If we stop doing this, it may go away. I want our children to realize where we came from, to be where we are today, and appreciate that.
Soldier is misidentified.
At Uriah's gravesite, the name engraved on his granite marker is wrong.
I'd like to see that corrected, and that has just become a burning passion with me. Each person that sacrifices for their country deserves to be remembered in their rightful name.
This may be small to some people, but this is very big. We want to make sure that everybody that is enshrined in the National Cemetery is taken care of.
Just beyond the small town's boundaries lies the laid-back crossroads of Lance Mills.
So I'm here to tell a story about a treasured piece of deaf history.
This deaf historian's mission is personal.
We should remember Lance Mills because it's an important aspect of deaf history, which shows that we had deaf spaces. We had freedom.
For I Have a Story, I'm Greg McQuaid.
It is a relic from a bygone era.
This airplane's a 1948 L-16B. I could maybe take my airplane up and just do a brief search of the area of Route 40 in between Blackstone and McKinney.
It was that area where searchers believed two missing women, the driver, who was 101 years old, and her 80-year-old passenger may be lost. The pair missing since Thursday.
And sure enough, I found them in the back of a big, looked like a soybean field.
There's not enough of us. I want little girls to know that they can be a firefighter, and I wanted to create a fun camp.
It's amazing to see like other women doing this sort of thing, and it's cool to be like, oh wow, I could do this if I wanted. Like, this is amazing.
I want to be able to give to you so that you can put towards the camp and continue making a difference in so many lives. Thank you.
6 Gives, brought to you by Virginia Credit Union. We got you. Welcome to the RVA Sports Awards, live from the Altria Theater.
Teenagers are used to seeing only one 5:30 per day. This isn't the one. It helps weed out the lesser-willed, who might otherwise detract from the task at hand.
A lot of guys kind of, they want to make it easy and quick whistle. That's not us.
Set. False step.
I mean, I want to teach my kids how to compete. I think that's a trait that's been lost in this generation. Winning is important.
That's it. That's it. That's awesome. That's a great rep.
He takes over a team that has never won more than 8 games in any season, and that has not reached that number in over 30 years.
Well, I might be a little crazy, but when you're called to do something, you don't question it. We're going to be successful. Now, I'm not going to sit there and predict what we're going to be, but we're going to be successful because the kids do too many right things not to be rewarded for it.
We're still putting in work every day. We're building. We're 1% better every day. Changing the culture here, and it's going to wake up a lot of people.
5 of Hall's former players and coaches with the Lancers have followed him. The colors couldn't be more different. The goals are still the same.
I want to build those relationships. I want to see these kids come back in 10, 15 years and be great fathers and husbands and successful in life. I mean, that's what coaching's about.
One, two, three. Welcome to RVA's home.
It's RVA's home for baseball.
Community, celebration,
smiles,
excitement,
giveaways,
kids running the bases.
I like the atmosphere.
High fives.
Friendship.
Memories.
The 32-ounce beers, the foot-long hot dog.
You can't beat a hot dog at the ballpark. Of course, a hot dog. You got to have a hot dog.
Oh, squirrely fries.
Dill dogs.
The smells, Nutsy Natasha.
Everybody loves Nutsy.
It's almost like a family.
Inclusion.
Bumping into old friends. Family outings. Birthday parties.
Dogs for fun.
Fireworks. RVA is home for championships.
Is that good?
That's it, doctor.
Like all that stuff. We are truly
RVA's home for it all.
This is home.
The State Open of Virginia from Independence Golf Club. Sponsored by Estes.
I'm Lane Casanate, the sports director at CBS 6 here in Richmond, alongside three-time State Open champ Robert Wren. Robert, I don't know. We have seen a lot of great golf out of Jay Woodson over his career, growing up here, playing here so many times. How much do you think this round surprises him today?
Well, in some ways it does, in some ways it doesn't. I saw him after his round yesterday, shot even par yesterday. Very disappointed that he didn't get more out of it. He said, I'm actually playing pretty well.
Woodson for birdie to extend the playoff. And it will slide by. And that makes Logan Riley your 2024 State Open of Virginia champion. For Robert Wren and Sean Robertson, I'm Lane Casanate. Thank you for joining us. So long, everyone.
We're not even to Thanksgiving and people are out here. So at the beginning of the day, you gotta believe that it's gonna happen. Anything for Tracy, honestly. If this could bring her joy, then absolutely. They don't believe she'll make it to Christmas, and it's just a matter of weeks. So she has ALS, and it's very hard because the disease challenges every part of your body, and what it hasn't touched is her spirit. I pray that she carries the love that she felt tonight every day that she has.
Energy Christmas Parade starts now.
It's a real cool you, 'cause the gang's all here. La 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 la. Digging all that holiday cheer. La 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 la. Bundle up and let it snow. La 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 la. 'Cause everyone's got the Yuletide glow. La 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 la.
Thanks for watching the Dominion Energy Christmas Parade.